Cardboard boxes. My entire life squeezed into the back of a 20-year-old minivan.
I hope you left room for the game table. Cover it with a blanket before you move it.
Not necessary.
To prevent dings and scratches.
Jasmine and I have no space for it in the new place, so...
You're leaving it with me?
I'd rather give it to you than sell it to a stranger.
Oh my God, thank you, big sis. Oh, I love it.
Well, I've noticed how much you like taking care of it. Outweighs dusting and polishing.
And discovering. Check this out.
BVRB. What is that?
The carpenter. Those are his initials.
The guy who made this table?
Bernard von Reisenberg is one of the greatest French ebenistas of his time. Chateau de Fontainebleau is filled with his work.
Little Miss Art History major.
This table embodies the story of the cabinet maker who created it and all those who claimed ownership over the years.
Oh, I never thought about the guy who made it. To me, it was just a cool game table.
A cool Rococo game table, mid-1700s. Double-sided.
A backgammon board. I never knew that.
Back then, it was a game called Trick Track.
That liberal arts degree is really paying off. Dad would have been so happy.
I'm just citing the appraisal.
Appraisal? When did you...
Oh, you and Jasmine were on the camping trip last month when I discovered the imprint. I got curious and I made an appointment with an antique dealer.
How come you never showed this to me?
It's none of my business.
Neither was sneaking my stuff out behind my back.
Oh, you weren't here.
That's what makes it sneaking. The very definition of the word. I would have never allowed you to take this 18th century Van Reisenberg Rococo table de jus out of the apartment.
That's why I waited till you were away.
That's premeditated sneaking.
This table de jeu has fascinated me. Oh, ever since you brought it home. And I want to know everything about it.
Oh, so you're attracted to an inanimate object. I've read about people like you. Is it sexual or are you just friends?
Not attracted. Connected. Like when you encounter a friend you haven't seen in years and you pick up right where you left off because you share a common history. And it feels like no time has passed at all. That's why I will never sell it. I don't care how much it's worth.
Well, I'm not asking you to sell it. Wait. How much is it worth? You have to sell it!
And part of this beautiful gift you gave me.
Which was mine until 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes later, it's mine. That's how time works.
$12,000?
Rude me. 6 apiece. How much did you pay for it?
I don't remember. Maybe 100?
$100? What idiot sold it to you for $100?
I acquired it at a yard sale during the pandemic. I live alone, so to keep from going crazy during the quarantine, I played myself against myself. I move a white piece, then I switch sides. Move a black piece, and then white, and then black. It's great practice.
But why are you selling it?
I always lose.
How much are you asking?
Well, it's 18th century French. How about 3,000?
How about 100?
That'll work.
Here. compensation in full. You haven't lost anything.
Whoa. Let's settle this like responsible grown-ups.
Responsible grown-ups don't give someone a mint condition mahogany and porcelain game table from the 18th century and then just ask for it back.
Well, I didn't know it was valuable.
So you only gave it to me when you thought it was worthless.
Not worthless, but not $12,000. And by the way, it's not mint. There's a tiny meandering diagonal crack running through the checkerboard.
What? No, it can't be a crack. I would have noticed a crack. How did I not notice this crack?
Blinded by love.
God, it wasn't there 15 minutes ago. How did this happen?
An academic question. The table has a glaring defect, a tiny meandering diagonal crack that has been overlooked despite your meticulous scrutiny. It will never satisfy your ravenous need for perfection, so you best break up with it.
I think the tiny meandering diagonal crack adds character and charm.
That's crazy.
That's wabi-sabi.
Wabi-hoobi?
Wabi-sabi. Oh, Japanese philosophy that imperfections in an object are part of its intrinsic beauty.
So you're turned on by a beautiful crack. Who isn't? That's... There's something else. It's not porcelain.
What?
See these tiny fissures running through the tiles? Porcelain doesn't have those, but it's very common in...
Ivory.
100% pachyderm enamel.
Oh, an elephant gave its life so we could play chess?
And this table is a constant reminder of that tragedy. We should sell it before the unbearable weight of guilt crushes us into a million shards of disillusionment, our dreams shattered by the light of morning regret.
We can never sell it. Ivory is banned everywhere in the world.
I'm sure there's an antiques dealer somewhere willing to take it off our hands. You know, someone a little sketchy, willing to skirt the law.
You mean a trafficker in the black market?
Exactly. A win-win for everyone.
Sure, you get to add a smuggler to your impressive resume, but how is this a win for me?
Well, 3 minutes ago, this wasn't even your game table.
And 3 centuries ago, an elephant blissfully sauntered across the African savanna, consuming tree leaves and washing it down with water he carries through his long
There are no
trunk.
trees in a savanna.
Of course there are. Not like a forest, but there are those, what are they called? Umbrella trees. Also, tons of grass and shrubs. An elephant smorgasbord.
Really? What was I thinking? Tundra. That's it. There are no trees in a tundra.
You're missing the point.
I'm creating the imagery, okay? Elephant, peaceful, sauntering, eating leaves. Got it.
There he stands, quietly digesting his lunch. Then, bam! Some poacher from out of nowhere blasts a hole through his head and cuts off his tusks.
Well, is it the poacher who cuts off the tusks, or does he subcontract to an outsider?
Again, not the point, but he probably removes them himself. Why wouldn't he?
They're two different skills.
Fine, so the hunter brings someone with him to remove the tusks.
I imagine he then delivers it to a third party, a talented sculptor who carves them into ornamental finials.
Your point?
Well, I doubt a poacher would have the hand-eye coordination, the fine motor skills necessary to handcraft a chunk of ivory.
So, they work as a team. The poacher kills the elephant, and an animal dentist removes the tusks, and a master sculptor carves them into ornate baubles.
And fast forward a few hundred years, their efforts live on in a beautiful antique game table with elegant ivory inlays. That'll fetch $12,000.
I will not put this ivory back into circulation.
But what if I could get us $20,000? Would that make a difference?
Not enough for you to go to prison.
Me? I never cut off anyone's tusk. I could barely remove my contacts.
If you sell it, not only will you be breaking the worldwide embargo, you will be an accessory to elephanticide.
Well, do you think the artisan who handcrafted the ivory was aware of where it came from?
Ignorance is no excuse.
Well, in the 18th century, it was pretty much the excuse for everything. But still, I don't think we can blame the artisan who was merely carving what was given to him.
I blame the entire elephant to ivory industrial complex.
What about the guy who made this table? This Bernard van Riesenberg? Surely you can't blame him. He was merely plying his craft by building an endurable piece of furniture.
I don't blame Bernard.
Then it follows. You can't blame his apprentices, or the furniture dealer who displayed it in the store, or the people down the line who enjoyed having it in their possession.
Don't blame them either.
Exactly. The blame rests squarely on the shoulders of the elephant killer. He alone murdered the beast. No one else is culpable, especially some roommates hundreds of years in the future who merely want to sell an old piece of furniture to make a few bucks.
I'm not selling it.
What if I could get us $50,000?
Not selling.
$100,000? $1 million?
It's not the money. You ever think of the others? The ones who took possession of it and then passed it along to the next generation.
Yes, hooligans, lowlives, all of them.
An unbroken chain of souls leading directly to our apartment.
The headquarters of the illicit ivory cartel.
Starting with von Riesenberg as he applies the final stroke of varnish, giving birth to an entity unique in the universe. From conception to actualization, chemical connections, firing neurons inside the brain of an 18th century master carpenter. A game table manifests through space and time, ending up in the interior of an apartment in the 21st century.
With a cracked tile made from a dead elephant. How can you love something so imperfect? I've never said this before, but you're an elitist.
Oh, you say it all the time. Having a bachelor's degree doesn't mean you can treat everyone else like an idiot.
Don't mock me.
I always looked up to you.
Except when you're looking down.
Stop it! Will you stop it?
No, I get it. I'm not the one with a great job. I don't have a fancy car. I'll never make as much money as you. But I did something pretty smart. I bought a valuable antique for a pittance. I made a good investment.
I'm sorry. I got to go to college and you didn't, but I refuse to feel guilty about something over which I had no control.
Dad paid your entire 4 years.
You could have gotten a student loan. You could have enrolled at a community college.
He promised he would pay my tuition. 1st grade, 3rd grade, 6th grade. You'll be the first in our family to receive a higher education. My senior year, he backed out. Said he couldn't expend any more resources on me. It was a gut punch. Knocked my tomorrows to the side of the road. Those are days I'll never see.
Wow, I didn't know. It's been 10 years. Isn't it time to dump that unrelenting anger?
I have to go. I'm meeting Jasmine at our new place.
Wait, don't leave. Put your hands here. Can you feel it?
The table? Yes, I can feel it.
His presence, a craftsman who existed hundreds of years ago, toiling through hot days in his studio, his face glistening with perspiration as he carves into the wood, chiseling, sanding, breathing life into a work of art.
Oh, and I bet he was ripped. Tight abs. Probably had a six-pack going for him. Totally hot.
Again, not the point.
Can I go now?
When Howard's hands touch this table, where our hands are touching now, I can feel his essence. I can hear his voice. Do you hear it?
Don't speak, table. Brett! Something's different. What is it? The crack! Do you see it? It's filled in with... What is that?
Appears to be a gold compound.
Gold?
Ormolu, maybe gold leaf.
Gold as in gold?
A gold inlay, I never noticed it.
Inside a crack that was never there.
How is that possible? There's no mention of it in the appraisal. Huh. Huh. Unexpected?
What is...
A note written in French from Bernard von Reisenberg.
A 300-year-old handwritten document?
In perfect condition.
I wonder how much it's worth.
Oh.
I mean, what are you going to do with it?
Respond.
Are you going to make an offer or are you just going to keep playing with yourself?
Well, the woodwork is incredible.
I can't hear you. Take off that damn mask.
I said the woodwork is incredible.
It's French, 18th century. My father taught me how to play chess on it.
In the 18th century.
I won't take less than 500.
A bit more than I expected. Thanks anyway.
Wait. Aren't you going to make a counteroffer?
Well, you just said you wouldn't take less than 500.
I lied. It was a negotiating tactic.
Still, I don't have that much.
Give me a number, you never know.
$50?
That's not enough. You should go.
Thanks anyway.
Now hold on. You any good?
Well, I don't do drugs. I've never been arrested.
I mean, at chess, are you a competent player?
I can hold my own.
I'll play you for it.
Ooh, you challenging me to a game?
If I win, the price stays at 500. If you beat me, you can have it for 50.
Oh, you're on. So, why are you selling it?
I don't talk when I play.
Sorry.
Get to a certain age and you start to think about all the disposition of all your stuff. I've had quite a life. I've accumulated mementos, souvenirs, gifts from around the world. My kids are all grown and they've taken what they want. They don't see any need to come around anymore.
How sad.
Shh! Don't talk when I play! The rest of this stuff, that's what you see here. And I won't burden anybody with sifting through it after I'm gone.
Check!
Oh, I didn't see that. Huh. That's why I don't talk when I play. What?
May I?
You have the floor.
When my grandfather died, my parents didn't know what to do with all his stuff. Paintings, jewelry, fur coats.
Is this going to be a long story?
I'm sorry. I will just shut up.
No, you already started. You have to finish. House rules.
I never knew my grandma, so, it's like, she had all this fur, she had all these fur coats, like minks and rabbit, raccoons. So it created this moral dilemma. Do you sell it give it away, donate it to a museum. And stacks of all these old magazines, Time, Life, Reader's Digest. I mean, those could be recycled, but they didn't want to deal with the rest, so they rented a storage unit and kept it all there.
What happened to it?
Well, they stopped paying, so the storage place just auctioned everything off.
Did you keep anything?
This was my grandpa's. He gave it to me before he died.
Oh, an Archambault. I'm impressed. This is one of the oldest watch manufacturers in the world.
Archambault, wow, I had no idea. Huh.
Your grandpa had good taste. We're consumed in our culture by possessions. We spend fortunes buying things we want and don't need. And we'll never use, all for the comfort it brings knowing that it's there. And if you already have the thing, those iniquitous advertisers and marketeers convince us to replace it with a newer one. It's a never-ending cycle of buying, disposing, and buying again. And you get to a certain age and you realize no one really owns anything.
You don't?
All that stuff. The physical objects we collect during our lifetime. We're merely borrowing them. They outlive us. This game table has survived countless generations, and I'm sure that the many who possessed it along the way believed that it belonged to them, that it was their property. But in the end, it's the other way around. The stuff owns us.
Stuff owns us.
Checkmate.
Oh man, I really wanted that table.
It's yours.
What? You're giving it to me?
But one caveat. When the time comes that your interest in it wanes or you no longer have use for it, promise me you will pass it along to someone who will garner from it the same enjoyment you did.
I promise.
You are good.
You too.
I'm sorry you lost your grandpa, but he did right by you when he gave you that watch. Didn't wait for someone else to find it after he was gone.
Is that what your parents did?
My mother was terminally ill. She spent hours every day receiving chemotherapy treatments at home. In those days, they were still experimenting, learning the doses, creating new drugs. The ones they had were toxic, would make you sick. I'd leave work early to go to see her. And on my final visit, she had a surprise for me. The game table! I haven't seen it in years!
Our neighbor, Mr. Saunders, was kind enough to bring it down from the attic.
Oh, Daddy taught me how to play on it.
Every night before bedtime.
It's still as beautiful as ever.
It was a gift from Charles de Gaulle.
The President of France.
Your father was a beloved cog in the gears of international diplomacy. When he retired from the State Department, he got quite a send-off.
I never heard that story.
I want you to have it.
Oh, Mom, thank you.
Well, I'd rather pass it on to my daughter now than let someone auction it off at the estate sale.
That means a lot to me.
Handcrafted in France in the 18th century for Louis XV.
Did Daddy know him too? I never knew he had such a lofty pedigree.
A history forever entwined with ours.
Mom! Cigarettes! Really?
Well, I had no place to hide them. That's why I asked Mr. Saunders to move the table next to me and to bring me a pack of Camels. Such a sweet man.
I'd rather you keep the table and stick around a few more years.
Were it in my power, I would enjoy 10,000 more sunrises. 10,000 more chances to hold my precious little girl. Sadly, lung cancer is a disease over which we have no control. Doctors don't even understand.
You and Daddy will always be with me. I don't need some object to evoke your memory.
Furniture is more than an object. It is a continuum of possibilities. It is a progression of culture. legacy, crafted from timber. That noise inside my... No.
On this day of your retirement, Ambassador, the people of France thank you, and the United States for your good work in the service of peace and diplomacy.
I am humbled, Monsieur la President. My diplomatic mission here has been the high point of my career.
On behalf of the French government and its citizens, I wish to present you this retirement gift. You are a fancier of chess, no?
Oh, you remembered. Well, how lovely.
Handcrafted by one of the finest cabinet makers of his day. Please. Oh.
BVRB. I am not familiar with that monogram.
A mystery for years, until a student at l'École de Louvre figured it out in 1957. The initials are of one Bernard van Riesenberg.
Oh, fascinating. Do you know its provenance?
It was recovered by La Resistance after the liberation of France.
Goddamn Nazis stole everything.
I'm afraid it was not the Nazis, Mr. Ambassador. After France entered into an armistice with Germany, the overrun governance at Vichy initiated the so-called Aryanization of its own population. You are familiar with the history?
Yes. Appropriated Jewish-owned businesses and personal property.
Before deporting tens of thousands of them to Auschwitz.
So this game table was seized by French officials.
Collaborators, traitors, acting in accordance with the terms of their surrender to Germany.
With all due respect, Monsieur le President, I cannot accept this. It is the rightful property of a war victim, and it needs to be restituted. Now, the U.S. State Department can help track down the owners and return it to their heirs.
That will not be necessary. The Musée Louvre has a department for just such purposes. The game table was transferred to their custody shortly after the war, where they determined its ownership. A young couple named Abelson, who were then separated from their child and taken to the death camps, where sadly they perished.
Oh, good God.
I led the Free French forces and fought alongside the United States and Great Britain. Yet, I bear great shame in what occurred in my homeland.
So, what happened after the Louvre identified the owners?
It was offered to the couple's heirs, as you suggest, but they declined to accept.
But why?
That is a mystery. And so it has come to me, and now I am giving it to you.
Well, besides its sentimental value, do the inheritors understand that they turned down this centuries-old, handcrafted Van Riesenberg game table?
You believe it to be valuable?
Oh, indeed, Monsieur le President, extremely.
Tell me, does its value come from the fact that it is very old,
Well, yes, of course.
or that it is very rare?
Well, I have no insight into its rarity, but yes, age and rarity are important factors, along with the condition, and I would describe this as very good.
Or is it only valuable because you say it is valuable?
Excuse me?
The only value one can assign to any object is the amount of recompense someone is willing to exchange for it.
Well, this could sell at auction for thousands.
I'll give you 50 for it.
50,000?
No, 50 francs.
But it is already yours. You don't need to purchase it.
No, I have given it to you. It is yours.
But I have not accepted it.
Please accept it. I want you to have it to symbolize our friendship and shared sorrow.
Thank you, Monsieur le President. I accept.
Now, I will pay you 50 francs.
This is far too valuable to exchange for such a minimal sum.
Go along with me. Let me buy it from you for 50 francs.
Of course.
Now, this beautiful antique game table is worth 50 francs. You agree?
I suppose so.
You accepted 50 francs for it. That is what it is worth to you. Yet, I gave it to you for nothing. That is what it was worth to me.
Oh, you make a good point. But is there not an intrinsic value to this table based solely on its beauty and function that goes beyond monetary price?
Intrinsic beauty is subject to one's own biased interpretation. For example, you may display the piece in your foyer where the local bourgeois will come and sing its praises.
Huzzah!
But I, personally, might find the object distasteful. And to exhibit it in my own home would feel as if I was, shitting in my own bed.
I understand, Monsieur de Gaulle. Here's your 50 francs back. I will take the table downstairs and put it in my car.
But I am asking 100 francs for it.
But I thought it was worth nothing to you.
That was true. But now that I know it is more valuable to you than it is to me, I have raised my price.
So you are arguing that value is a subjective conceit.
Indeed.
But is not an objective denotation of value necessary in a free market?
On a transactional level, yes. But there are always outside forces. That is why capitalism requires state intervention from time to time, because the prices can be artificially manipulated. Supply and demand are the ultimate arbiters of value in a marketplace. But internal values of worth or worthiness can come only from the heart.
They are priceless.
Let us assume our game table could fetch 50,000 francs from a collector. It is the one table he is missing, and its acquisition would make his collection complete. It matters not that no one else would pay this sum. For him, the value is that it is now needed to complete his assemblage. Assigning value to the table would be fruitless, because he will keep it for the rest of his life, regardless of any offer. He can brag to his guests that it is worth 50,000 francs or 50 million. But when he dies, no one else shares his passion. At the estate sale, the price is dropped to 50 francs.
Well, going by those measures, the table only has value if it has meaning.
Precisement. And in this instance, value to the Abelson family cannot be calculated in monetary terms, because there could be no greater meaning assigned to an object than that which has survived the death camps. It saddens me that the family has not come to realize this. Of course, I cannot force them to receive it, yet we cannot keep it, because it is not ours.
Yes, I see the dilemma.
It would take an experienced diplomat to identify that balance between what is and what was, and call it out.
Well played, sir, albeit not so subtle.
No one has ever accused Charles de Gaulle of subtlety.
I will make it my retirement mission to convince the rightful heirs to accept their property.
Its reunification with the family will be an overdue restitution. And that is the gift I wish to give to you.
I have been through this already with the people from the Louvre. me down.
It is understandable, the sense of loss and pain you associate with this table, but does it not also evoke a loving connection with your parents?
There is no sense of loss, no sense of pain. It is just a piece of furniture, Mr. Sims. I don't remember my parents.
They found this inside the drawer.
I was an infant when they were taken from me. There are no surviving photographs. I know nothing of them, other than they died at the hands of the Nazis. I grew up in an orphanage until I was of age.
Well, then, this table exists to fill in that part of your story.
It is a short story, at best, without pages, without words, without language. It languishes in the fog, a single drop of moisture, indistinguishable amid millions.
No regrets, no anger.
How can one regret something so intangible it lacks meaning? How can anger exist where pain does not?
Well, it certainly must feel that this
The fact a young couple may have played chess on this table just prior to being carted off to Auschwitz is no more significant to me than the wind or the fact of existence itself. Does that surprise you, Ambassador Sims?
Your complete detachment is not what I expected.
When they incinerated the Edelsons, they robbed me of my soul, my breath, my humanity, everything parents are to bestow upon their children. That I am considered a cog in this species known as humankind remains to me a mystery. I am rather a barren shell, pelted by wind-blown furies of sand, waiting for the waves to wash me under. Waiting for the sea to turn me to coral.
It is not within my power, nor is it my wish, to convince you otherwise. If you assign no meaning to it, then it has no value.
Then you take it.
Oh, I cannot. It is not mine to take. No one has a right to this table but you.
And I don't want it. It seems you have a political dilemma. But it is your dilemma, not mine.
The narrative embedded in this table is the legacy of your mother and father. A legacy that'll last only if it's in your hands.
You mistake me for the sentimental type. Why should I look to the past?
As you look at the moon each night, you see the same celestial mass that cast its light into your parents' eyes, filling them with dreams of their daughter's journey. When you place a hand upon this table in the here and now, you touched the same molecules they touched. You feel the same coolness of the lacquer gliding under your fingers. See the same lines and curves and patterns.
Okay. Give it to me.
It is the right thing to do.
Now that it is in my possession, I grant you full ownership. I offer it to you as a gift, free and clear, without reservations. You may accept it with a pure conscience, absent of guilt. If you manage to extract some modicum of pleasure from a simple game table that represents such pain and evil, perhaps in a small way it will help to heal the gashes and wounds which seem to be carved into your soul, more than mine.
Must send Mr. de Gaulle a thank you note. Oh, such a generous gift. No wonder the French adore him.
Well, he didn't exactly give it to me, not directly. He arranged for
Don't
me.
bore me with all the details. I leave all the bureaucratic ins and outs to you. I'm just grateful to have this wonderful antique in our custody.
Indeed. Not sure it's really our style.
And we'll make it our style. It is a brilliant addition to our home.
It could also be a brilliant addition to the National Gallery of Art.
Furniture is more than an object to be stared at and photographed. This is a lovely chess table. Now you can teach Maureen to play.
Or hear me out. We could put it up for auction, donate the proceeds to charity.
It is a gift from the French government. We will keep it in the family and pass it down as our legacy.
That is one option. But there's something you should know about it.
Oh,
It is, rather, you see, this table, it belonged to, this table has a history.
of course it does, darling. It's an antique. Aren't you going to share it with me? I love a good tale.
Oh, good God, I should never have brought it here.
Andres, tell me, what is the story of this table?
Atrocity.
Oh, yes. I know all about those plundering Nazis and their ill-gotten booty. Simply horrendous. The Louvre called while you were on your flight. They apprised me of the table and your futile attempt at repatriation. Then they asked us to donate it to their collection.
Well, what did you tell them?
We're keeping it.
I am heartbroken to relinquish this table.
I know, Papa, but it's time. You've played chess games with your friends and customers for how many years now?
Too many to remember. I picked it up from a street vendor on my trip to New York.
And now it will be a wonderful new addition to our inventory. Whoever acquires it next will reap boundless joy from it, as you did.
Well, I hope to price it just right so we'll sell quickly before we relocate.
Not too low. Our customers will pay a premium for such a fanciful table.
They will accept any offer. We have to liquidate everything. The earnings will resettle us when we arrive at Versailles.
Let us place it in the window where it will engender interest from the passerby.
Very sensible, Mrs. Abelson. You are the wisest and most beautiful business partner a man could have.
But if it doesn't sell when the time comes for us to leave?
We will take it with us. There are even more customers in France, and they have more money.
You are no never, Mr. Abelson.
Are you excited about the move?
Who wouldn't be? An entire country based on romance, wine, and sex.
You read too much.
It's true. French couples have sex all day, and not always with each other.
Myself, I look forward to Mr. Eiffel's tower, an engineering marvel created centuries before its time.
I've seen these in books. Very tall, very long. Not to imply Mr. Eiffel lacked any specific measure, but I think Mr. Freud would have something to say about his tower.
I'm sure Mr. Freud would have something to say about you.
I will miss our home days.
I know.
I wish we could stay.
I know.
What happened? When did the world go mishuk?
The Germany of our youth has drifted into history. Today is an unfamiliar and dangerous time.
Why do they hate so much? Why do they hate us so much?
Why indeed? Why? Scholars with larger brains than mine have sought answers for generations.
We'll be safe in France, no? And maybe...
The nation is free and welcoming and has booming Jewish neighborhoods.
We will find a new shul.
Yes. We will make friends and live in a peaceful and pious community.
God will help us start again.
As always, yes.
Spices for the best prices. Hats, jackets, shoes. I've got exotic spices for the best prices. What can I help you with on this fine morning?
Just browsing.
Okay. Take your time, my friend. I got the whole of God's good day.
So many items. From where do you acquire them?
Many places, my friend, many places. I've got rugs from China, imported spices from India, these oranges up in California, and handmade leather shoes from Mallorca.
World traveler.
No, sir. Outside of my dreams, the only world I know is Williamsburg, where my mama gave birth to me. And Harlem, where we stand right now. And of course, all the places the train runs in between.
Still, an impressive melange.
A little here, a little there. Pick up what I see.
It is French, no?
Indeed. 18th century.
Do we know the name of the craftsman responsible for the work? I think perhaps Riesner.
There is an inscription underneath. BVRB.
I am not familiar with this stamp.
I have sought the identity myself, but no one can account for these initials.
An unknown ebonista?
Unknown, but never forgot.
The days when quality mattered.
An understatement, sir. Over 200 years later, this wonderful game table is as solid as it was when it was new.
Exquisite. What price do you ask?
For you, my friend, I will accept any offer.
Don't be mistaken. How much do you want?
I cannot attach a price, for its worth exceeds mere monetary consideration given to my daddy when he was emancipated.
He was a slave?
He was a chess player.
Oh, he taught you?
Yes, sir. My daddy, Mr. Clarence Fillmore Sr., says it expands one's ability to concentrate. It develops thinking skills.
Wise words. A blessing to be the son of such a man.
With just a touch, I feel his reassuring embrace. Hear his calming voice.
My father explains the game to me as well. He died much too young. I haven't picked up a chess piece since.
Then this belongs to be in your hands. What price do you offer?
Oh, you have me at a disadvantage. How does one price the priceless? If neither of us can assign a value, we're at an impasse.
Then I'll offer it as a gift.
Oh, you are too generous, my friend, but I cannot accept a thing without tendering payment.
Consider it tzedakah.
That you know this word tzedakah, I am pleasingly surprised, but I have no need of charity.
No, not charity, my friend. Equity. This fine example of French decorative art reconnected me to my father. It is my wish that you be given the same opportunity as you journey back to
Leipzig.
Germany!
I own a furniture store.
A fellow merchant! Oh, When do you return?
I take passage on the Minnevaska to Rotterdam the day after tomorrow.
Then this game table must join you on your voyage. Challenge your fellow passengers to the game of kings.
Oh, most of the journey I shall spend in my cabin trying to keep my kishkas down.
Then I shall carefully wrap it in a blanket to prevent dings and scratches.
And I shall pay you 200 American.
As I said, it is a gift. I will not take your money.
500.
I accept. And may it conjure for you as it has for me. Priceless memories of your boyhood with your father.
I suppose you've heard the news, Fillmore. President Lincoln has issued what they call a proclamation. That's like an announcement or a message. Now, this message says that Lincoln has emancipated all the slaves.
Sure.
Emancipation. That's a big word, but it means you're a free man.
Sure.
That means you're free to leave anytime.
Sure.
It means you can just walk out that door anytime you want.
Sure.
And that brings a tear to my eye, Fillmore, because I would miss our bi-weekly games. Of course, you can still come here and play chess anytime you want. In fact, I'll even let you be white next time.
Sure.
What I'm saying is, things don't have to change. We can keep on doing it just as we've been doing for the last 15 years.
Check.
You are an able chess player, Fillmore, albeit a quiet one. Someday you'll learn some new words and we'll have lengthy conversations. And someday this game table will be yours. I'm leaving it to you in my will. That means in the unlikely situation where I die before you, you get to keep it. Answer the door, Fillmore.
No.
Excuse me?
You said I could be white next time.
You are a funny fella. I will answer the doorbell myself while you think about my offer to continue in my service.
There's an employee
As a free man.
with wages paid in greenbacks. Confederate currency ain't no good to me.
Money? What in the good Lord's name do you need money for?
Necessities, provisions, shelter.
What? I already provide you with all that. And you can play chess here anytime you want. Anytime when you're not harvesting or shoeing the mares, you can sit across from me in that very chair at this very chess table. Necessities, you got it all here. Money, you don't need it. The Bible says it is the root of all evil.
The love of money is the root of all evil.
You corrected my Bible recitation, Igbo? You have the audacity to challenge God's words? Where did you get such a notion?
1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10.
You've been treading through my Bible, haven't you? Touching it with those Igbo hands. You know you ain't supposed to be looking through that good book, you understand? It makes me angry, you understand? It makes God angry, you understand? It makes our white God angry. I'll answer the door, and you are not to touch any of the pieces while I'm gone. If you checkmate me on your next move, that's cheating.
I don't cheat.
You don't think of it as cheating because Igbos don't have the ability to discern right from wrong, but still it is. If you move the pieces while my back is turned, that's cheating. And some lesser folk than myself might find it cause to snuff the light breath out of them Igbo love. I don't
Tree!
Arguing over such a bagatelle is hardly worth my time. I best stand guard of the chessboard while you answer the door.
I will not answer your door.
Do not defy me, Igbo. You still belong to me. Ain't no announcement gonna change that.
I will not answer your door.
I don't abide by no proclamation that don't come out of the mouth of Jefferson Davis, the president of these Confederate States. Not that Igbo lover Lincoln. Now answer that door!
I will not answer your door.
That was not a suggestion.
Put down the gun.
Oh, that's rich, boy. Giving orders to your superior, getting all highfalutin and such. I own you, Iggy Bobo. My chattel. Just like this handcrafted table on which we play our wonderful games, you will be mine forever. I can snuff out your life breath at any minute. Nobody pay any mind to it, you understand? I pull this trigger, and life go on just as before, you understand? Like there ain't be no difference. Assaulting your superior, gonna get an Igbo hanged.
I'm no one's chattel.
We see things differently.
You see nothing, sir. Blinded by the blood of those whose oppression you facilitate and whose death you write off as a business loss.
Yeah, I hear a load of big words, Igbo. Mighty big words making a mighty big noise.
You hear nothing, sir. Submerged in a cask of self-privilege, ensconced in your own fermented greed.
I never knew so many words could fit into such a tiny head.
You know nothing, sir. Hindered by the maggots of intolerance, obscuring the light of reason from your bedraggled eyeballs. Your skull bloated with the squalor of delusional supremacy.
And all the fancy words in the world, strung together and hung over the town square, might sparkle in the moonlight, but they don't come with any privileges. The good Lord made you a lesser creature, and there's nothing you or he can do to change that.
The more you subjugate me, the more I endure. Though liberty be granted, I have earned my dignity. Incarcerated, punished, hands bloodied and feet pummeled, always I have been free.
Squeeze a little tighter. When the slave patrols find you, we'll see how free you are.
Your enterprise, this plantation, and all those who have suffered here is dead. Long after the gables have rotted, long after the rafters and banisters have served up their last termite meal, the full-bodied fragrance of freedom lingers everlasting, time-tested and sturdy. Just like this handcrafted game table on which you unwisely challenge me every fortnight to a game of wits? Forever a testament to the skill of their creators, while you and yours fade into the haze.
Mr. Quinn, this is the United States Army. We have important intelligence to disseminate in accordance with the proclamation from the Chief Executive of the United States. All persons held as slaves within any state in rebellion against the United States shall be forever free.
Checkmate.
Exquisite woodwork. The marker tread is immaculate. You picked this up in France.
On my last day in Paris, I visited a prominent marchand in Marseille, accompanied with my handmaid, Miss Hemmings. We were probing through a selection of French handcraft to bring back to the States. When Miss Hemmings' attentions landed on this delightful table d'hôte, I could see in her eyes she fell in love with it, and she requested I acquire it for her as a condition for returning to my service at Monticello.
Forgive me, but why relent to such extortion?
You may remove your crude innuendo, sir.
Heartily withdrawn. My brusqueness was unwarranted.
It was an item in our negotiations that she would return home with me. A quid pro quo.
Forgive my assumption, but I find it unusual to be buying gifts for one's slaves.
This was in France, Mr. Gwynn. There are no slaves in France.
Of course, I was just...
Sally is the mistress of Monticello. She oversees the household, supervises meals, keeps inventory, and assures cupboards are sufficiently replete.
As would any good wife.
You question my integrity, sir?
No, sir. Not a glimmer.
Aside from bearing my children, there is no comparing her to a wife.
I apologize for the inference.
Please endeavor to be more circumspect.
Yeah, on my plantation, slaves understand that they are at the bottom tier in the hierarchy. I may lay with any one of them from time to time, but it is consistent with my rights as a property owner. I would no sooner present a gift to them as I would offer a crystal vase to a settee.
A crystal vase to a settee? The manner in which you conduct your business is entirely within your purview. Your plantation is an efficiently run enterprise.
If I may be direct, one might interpret gifting her this game table as a form of payment for services rendered.
Miss Hemmings is an enthusiast of both chess and trick-track, myself having instructed her in the rules of both games. I thought it an appropriate object d'art to bring back to the estate.
You play chess with a slave?
Oh, she is quite good, having studied several manuals on the subject.
You taught her to read?
Oh, no, sir. In that discipline, she is autodidactic, with a mind that values knowledge.
She is intelligent then, as was your late wife, and bears a remarkable resemblance.
Yes, that's true. She is also the half-sister of my dear Martha.
How is that?
Oh, my father-in-law, Mr. John Wales, after the death of his third wife, begat numerous children with his slave Betty Hemmings, Sally being one of them. As my late wife, my beloved Martha, is of the issue of Mr. Wales and his first wife, Martha Epps. She and Sally share the same father, and thus have sisters.
Fascinating story, albeit quite curious. While on the subject of curiosity, may we tend to the purpose of this meeting?
As my years progress, and my last day on the fertile soils of my beloved Virginia draw near, I desire to convey this gaming table into the hands of a new owner, someone closer to their prime, who may indulge in its joys in a more regular fashion.
Kind and generous gesture, but why is it you seek my involvement?
It is you, sir, to whom I wish to bequeath it.
A much too generous gesture, Mr. President.
You have been a loyal friend, Mr. Quinn, and I trust it will be a great diversion for you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I cherish your gift. It shall serve as a centerpiece in my grand foyer. Will you require anything in return?
Well, your gratitude is welcome, and some advice to go with it. Consider educating one of your subordinates to the rules of the game so that they may play as your opponent. I believe you will find it an effort most rewarding. Miss Hemmings, discretion, s'il vous plaît.
Oh, look, Thomas. What a beautiful gaming table. It has a chessboard on top and trick track on the other side.
Remarkable. The French capacity for innovation is one commodity I am eager to import to the States.
It would fit particularly well in the parlor in Monticello. Don't you agree?
Perhaps if we relocate the armchair from the west wall to the
Then
east.
shall we take it back with us?
No. I must deny your request, Miss Hemmings. We have several chessboards at the ready. What purpose would be served by adding another?
Pursuing my happiness? Is that not enough?
Our trunks are filled to capacity with artwork and tomes I've acquired during my tenure as ambassador. It would be an undue burden to add to our voyage home. I must steadfastly deny.
Then perhaps, Mr. Ambassador, I will stay in Paris, where I am
Careful, Miss Hemmings.
free.
Free. Free to what end? Aimlessly drift through the streets? Forage for scraps of bread or bowls of leftover porridge?
Free to make my own decisions. Free to speak my truth whenever and to whomever I wish. And free to play chess on any table I desire.
The advisable alternative is the security of Monticello. I can provide you the
I will be liberated then.
Why such a pointless query?
As pointless as your hypocrisy.
hold your tongue, Miss Henderson.
Your renown has spread across the world for 5 words you wrote over 10 years ago. All men and so forth. Why is it then you sustain your workers in bondage? Why not compensate them? Give them the freedom to leave and return upon their will. Why not live up to your own declaration and end this ravaged cancer, if not everywhere, at least on your own estate?
I will be judged by history, not you.
And why would I, having obtained my liberties in France, agree to once again forfeit my rights and forcibly toil in your grand manner without recompense?
Should I meet your condition and purchase this table, you'll return with me to Virginia and resume servicing my particular...
Indulgence,
Oh, hold your tongue.
coition, indecency, lasciviousness, assault.
Enough!
That's one condition. I have others.
Miss Hemmings. Sally. I am the embodiment of patience, and you are in no position to negotiate with me. Oh.
I think I am.
What more do you seek?
I shall live the remainder of my life on your property as your property, if you agree to emancipate our children once they come of age.
If I pledge to said commitment, will you return with me?
In writing, with your John Hancock.
And you shall lie with me at my pleasure.
At your pleasure, Master Thomas, if not mine.
The final layer of varnish is not complete.
You are a magician, Monsieur von Riesenberg. Elegance and perfection beyond what I thought possible.
You are wise beyond your appearance, but I alone am not responsible for this wondrous piece. There are carpenters who built the frame, and founders who melt the golden bronze into the proper fitting, and chasers who sculpt detail into the metal. And me, the branding stamp.
BVRB? Master von Riesenberg, is it vanity that you stamp your initials into the furniture?
That is my mark! Its inclusion mandated by the Cabinet Makers Guild de Paris, the Corporation des Menuisiers Ebonistes.
And why is that?
It is thus other craftsmen and officials in the guild will know it was built with uncompromising skill and the highest level of quality before committing their approval.
So a little vanity.
Entering to the benefit of my esteemed customers.
Oh, why should he care? If the table is useful and its beauty complementary to the milieu, does it matter by whose hands it was assembled?
A builder's mark implies that the product adds to its value. It signifies quality in the woodworks, the veneers, the marquetry, the lacquer. It assures the client that the cabinet work is worthy of their riches.
Indeed, the curvature of the legs, the detail in its carving. Fantastic! Mwah!
That was not by my hand. That is one of the talented woodsmen of the Carvers Guild.
But surely the gilded embellishments are yours, monsieur. Nature itself would not dare to dream of such creation.
Also not my work. Members of the Founders Guild smelt the gold and conform it to the appropriate specification.
Ah, but the clever and intricate design of the metal displays the uncompromising artistry of which you speak so fondly.
And that artistry is not mine either! That is the skilled hand of the chaser, a member of the Chasers Guild, who ensures the designs of the fittings match the original plans.
So many craftsmen involved in making one table.
Indeed.
Why do you get to put your name on it?
The artisans work under my supervision. As master cabinet maker, the responsibility for the whole falls upon me. It is I who will be judged by those who are yet to come, who will marvel at my attention to detail. Future generations will come to know the spirit of BVRB, Bernard van Riesenberg, whose mark upon this table is eternal.
Sire!
Sacre remorse, what have you found?
It smelled like tobacco, but it says it is made from a camel.
Tiny cigars inside a tiny case?
Inside a tiny camel.
Is there anything else?
Seems to be a timepiece. A small pocket watch without a chain to carry it, or a case to protect it. But there appears to be some sort of leather strap attached there too.
Yeah, technology far beyond comprehension.
There is a name engraved thereon. Archambault.
I know, Monsieur Archambault, the finest horologer in all of France. He purchased the chest of drawers from me just last week. He must have brought this clever little clock in to show me and then forgot to take it back. Return it to the drawer. We must find him and return it to him immediately.
There is more, sire. A tiny musket.
Indeed. If its musket balls be its diminutive, it will prove a most ineffective weapon.
I pray you be cautious, sire, lest the tiny musket fire its tiny balls into my
It
tiny...
belongs to a Monsieur Derringer. His stamp is engraved herein. Return it to the drawer. We must find this Monsieur Derringer and inquire how this tiny pistol happened upon us.
Oh, a golden hexagram! A sign of witchery!
It is a star of the Jews. Yet I have seen no Jews within 100 miles of here.
Shall we melt it down?
Oh, I dare not. It conveys good fortune. Place it back. Be quick about it.
Oh, Master, look! Tiny figurines! Are these the Jews you speak of?
They are chess pieces.
Ah, for the game table. But how is it they ended up there?
It is a mystery. The chess pieces are not included.
Master?
They are sold separately.
They are quite lovely.
Oh, the dark ones are made from ebony and the white from ivory.
Ivory. Why not porcelain?
Ivory can be carved into the smallest of shapes.
How sad for the elephant who gave his life so that men could sit down at a table and play games.
It is but a dumb animal.
Do you not believe that animals have souls?
I have never pondered such a concept.
If God made all life, would it not follow He also made elephants?
Of course, he made them for us to do with as we please.
Turning them into game pieces.
Now you understand.
By what names are they called?
Elephants have not names.
I am referring to the chess pieces. I have never played, so I do not know the names of the pieces.
This one is a queen and this one a bishop.
A bishop. Of course. That is how we know they're not Jews.
And this one a knight.
In the shape of a horse.
Oui.
Do you not find it ironic? Tusks taken from an elephant are carved into the shape of a horse.
That is not irony. Irony would be if the tusks were carved into the shape of an elephant.
To the point, sir. One of God's most noble creatures is silenced, merely so his teeth can be pilfered to make a tiny steed.
And a tiny king and queen and castles and pawns.
It is the pachyderm that is the pawn in this game.
Adam?
Oh, it's a scientific term, sir, to describe elephants, hippopotamuses, camels.
Oh, camels! Like the tiny box we found inside the drawer.
No, sir, that's not the pachyderm. There's a pack of cigarettes, tiny cigars.
Then which pachyderm do you speak?
The elephant, of course.
What that?
Tuscus.
No, I mean, what variety?
African, I believe.
Is that the ones with the big ears or the little ears?
Big ears. The little ears are Asian.
How did you obtain this knowledge of elephants?
Before I became your apprentice, I lived in West Africa, where I was hired as a poacher.
You killed elephants? Now that is irony.
No, sire. On my first day of work, I could not get myself to aim my musket at the beast, let alone fire one shot. So I resigned my post, and they gave me instead the job of cutting the tusks off after the beast was felled.
Nevertheless, I still cannot fathom how these mysterious curiosities manifested herein.
Do you think witchcraft, master?
I am not sure which craft. It could be the joiners, the chasers, the smelters. There are too many guilds in our profession. It is not beneath any of them to pull such a trick as these.
No, master. I mean, what about witches?
I do not think they have a guild.
Perhaps this is a spell of some sort. Do you believe in curses?
Oh, as a man of the enlightened mind, I have always maintained a skepticism towards such things. Yet, it seems the only logical explanation, based on today's knowledge of science and the physical world.
Then how do we break the curse?
Oh. Oh. Oh! Ah! We must destroy it!
Master, no! Look what you have done! There is now a tiny, meandering, diagonal crack in the chessboard!
Worry not! The crack is as thin as a wisp of air, so I will not repair it.
Master!
I shall fill it with a mixture of gold dust and lacquer.
Gold? But shall the crack be even more conspicuous?
Indeed, that is my intention. This crack shall become part of the table's history and beauty, an ancient Japanese design technique called kintsugi.
What of perfectionism,
Oh.
of attention to detail?
Small blemishes such as these are emblematic of the handcrafted art.
Our blemish is not the very opposite of perfection.
What you perceive as imperfection in this chessboard is perfection in a world replete with artistic flaws.
But is not perfection an objective state? There is no room for opinion. It is a measurable fact. A thing is either perfect or it is not.
Tell me, is the world not perfect?
I believe it is.
Ah! Is this tiny, meandering, diagonal crack not part of the world?
Yes, but
In that sense, it is just as it should be. And because you have played a part in this perfection, you may inscribe your initials on it.
Oh, master, I will not do this.
Why not?
I cannot write.
Take one of my pencils. You may inscribe a small X. I will assist you.
Master, look! The cursed objects are vanished from the drawer!
The cursed Provenance! The unworldly objects have returned to their dark abode!
They are gone, sir, but alas, something has replaced them. What does it say?
Certificate of appraisal.
How could that be an appraisal? The table is new, just recently finished by your own hand. What worth can be assigned?
$12,000.
Considerable number, no? What is a dollar?
That is the monetary unit of the British colonies in America.
That's an exorbitant price for a table. These colonists spend their wages frivolously.
It is an insult! I am mocked for my craftsmanship! Oh, this has the sting of the Joiners Guild about it. Oh, they are always brewing disturbances amongst the other guilds. Oh, we are the true carpenters. We use dovetail, we use tongue and groove, we use mortise and tenon, blah, blah, blah. Take a pen. I wish to live or not. Whomsoever be in possession of this object knows that I brought it forth into the world, having fastened together disparate materials to create a thing heretofore non-existent. Long after my flesh has returned to the soil, may this, the progeny and condition of my toil upon which you now gaze, remain as undeniable testament to the fact of my being. Did you get all that down?
No, sire, I did not.
Why not?
I told you I cannot write.
Be it is, I shall pen the note with my own hand. We are done here. We often return with a monsieur that he may include this in his inventory.
Yes, master. I will fetch him at once.
How can the beauty of a thing as simple as a game table infuse me with such pride, and yet, not knowing how it fares in the future, fill me with such dread?
Dear Monsieur von Reisenberg, your artistry and craftsmanship will live on through the ages, its journey part of the fabric of time.
When silenced is my voice, my breath but a fading anecdote, will I exist?
In each grain of wood, in every crack, in the lacquered reflections, in every moment of joy it brings to those who use it, you exist.
The words to my sanguine lips no longer give voice. Doth my story echo through the enduringness of my craft, in this simultaneous touch of this table, separated by
generations,
united by
proximity,
the eternal essence of
beauty and art,
the toil of
blistered
the
hands,
diaspora of souls,
throughout the years,
of the centuries,
space and
time and space,
continuum,
link with
each other,
connected by
time,
connected with
place,
the eternal essence
my
of
table in
your hand.
their hands.
Mission accomplished. Bernard is now buzzing at the center of activity at an upscale retirement community, where he'll be right at home with his fellow antiquities.
Feels like a house guest has left. An exchange student from another country whose time with the sponsor family ended and they moved on.
He's only 15 minutes away. We can visit him anytime.
Are they aware of its value?
I get there, and I present the game table to an older gentleman, who I presume is the director of the facility. I show him the appraisal. He grabs it from my hands and rips it up, letting the pieces fall to the floor.
Why would he?
He says appraisals are nothing more than snooty opinions. It doesn't matter when someone else thinks someone else might pay for a piece of art. No amount of money could ever match the joy this gift will bring to the singers. He then apologizes to me and asks for my forgiveness.
For tearing up the appraisal?
I'm not quite sure, but I forgive him just the same. I forgive you, I say. Then with increased volume, I forgive you! I yell with the force of a hurricane. I shout so loud, my whole body quivers. I forgive you! Dad!
spoke to our father while he was still here.
I was able to holler to a complete stranger.
Releasing a lifetime of pent-up anger.
Like an exorcism.
Oh, another story etched into the table's journey.
There's more. A caregiver calls to him from across the hall. Bernie, it's time for your medication!
Bernie? Bernie, as in Bernard?
I know, right? I wonder. Before he leaves, he turns to me and whispers, intrinsic value outlives us.
Intrinsic value.
Outlives us.
The eternal essence of beauty and art.
Outlives us. A legacy crafted from timber.
Outlives us a progression of culture.
Outlives us. A
Legacy.
A legacy crafted from timber.
Timber. It outlives us.
Now you can teach Maureen to play. She's at the perfect age.
There must be dozens of customers in Leipzig who would value such a fanciful table.
Its marquetry is immaculate. You picked this up in France?
I don't abide by no proclamation that ain't come out the mouth of Jefferson Davis.
She requested I acquire it as a condition to returning to my service in Monticello.
Future generations will know the spirit of BVRB,
Bernard van Riesenberg.
whose mark upon this table is eternal.
It exists.
He exists.
J'existe!
That is a most colorful wood, sir. The bark is light gray, yet inside I see the hardwood to be brown as chocolate.
You don't honor me with compliment, young man. But it is not of my creation. It is a branch of a mahogany tree from the coast of Ceylon. Dense and robust. But we did not plant a tree, nor did we naturally to adapt to it.
But you are the ones that separated it from its trunk.
Indeed, that is my vocation. I wield an axe with precision. But that task you carry gleams and curves to perfection.
I do not warrant your praise, sir. For it was not I that produced such a wondrous thing, but a majestic elephant.
Were you its killer?
That is not my métier. I am no poacher. Leave it to one more suited to the manifestation of death.
Then you are the one who removed it from the dead beast.
I admit to the deed, sir. So my soul be drenched in shame.
That will be sculpted and polished to no longer recognize as the detachment of an animal.
And your wood shall be carved and varnished until it is no longer interpreted as a branch, erstwhile covered in bark and leaves, home to insects and mice.
They shall combine anew to form a masterful object.
A cabinet or a table.
A chest of drawers or a commode.
I wonder where their journey ends. Palace or humble home. King or peasant.
Yon wonderment would be better served not at where the journey ends, but when. None will remember the modest woodcutter, or the tusk puller, or the cabinet maker. 1,000 generations will bear witness to the results of our toil, but without consideration of provenance, passed from hand to hand through ages to come. The fruit of creation shall be seen anew, as native as the elephant, as indigenous as the tree.
And as enduring as the intrinsic nature of all things, which in the end is all we have.
You're unsure about that?
Who knows?